Happy birthday, David. And thanks again, Jane, for getting this satellite link working. It seems to be fine.
I believe.
Well, look, David, what can I say? 50 years old. We go back a long ways, you know. In fact, I think we go back all the way to 1993, and it was Shanghai. We were sitting at one of those huge banquet tables, and no doubt we were eating some Shanghainese delicacy that was made from snake's pancreas. And we were living in Seoul at the time, and we were as a family about to move to Korea, certainly thinking about it. So you proceeded to regale me with stories of this magical land that seemed like a cross between Disney World, Las Vegas, and the interesting bits of Sodom and Gomorrah. And it worked. As a family, a few months later, so in 1994, we moved there. And at that time, as many of you will know, Korea was actually more like God's idea of a sarcastic joke on humanity. So, Kim and I learned two things very quickly about David. The first and most important thing is that we had a friend for life. And secondly, that this man was a communicator, a master communicator of the highest order. And, at the risk of this sounding like a eulogy, you know, David is a very articulate man. He knows a lot of words. About 1996, I think he used all of them, which is quite something. I think of David, I think of somebody who's cultured, erudite, who's sophisticated. In fact, he's the Fraser Crane of the world of communications. And you know, thinking back to those days back in Hong Kong, very nostalgic. If you recall, David, the Ainsworth family adopted you for a brief period of time, and you were one troublesome kid. But all these years later, I'm very proud to be able to say that I'm one of your 75,388 very good Facebook friends. And hopefully I always will be. So much of a real friend that I'm one of the few people that actually know your middle name, which for the uninitiated is Hiawatha. You know, all it remains is for Kim and I to wish you the best. Obviously, we'd really like to be there this evening. The only reason we're not is that we actually weren't invited. And at the risk of maybe giving away some secrets, I know Jane has been working in the background. It's very hard to try and get you what you've always wanted for your birthday, and that's a vintage sports car. But she wasn't able to in the end. Apparently the parking space is filled with 53,000 copies of the Big M Little M market. We all love you, mate. And see you again soon.